In order to understand how a variable assist power steering system works, we must first understand how a conventional power steering system operates. Let's see a simplified animation of this on a rack and pinion style system. Conventional power steering systems use hydraulic fluid pressure to reduce the effort required to turn the wheels. A hydraulic pump is belt-driven off the engine. Pressurized hydraulic fluid is sent from the pump through a hose to a valve in the steering gear. This valve is called a rotary or spool valve. A second hose is used to return the fluid to a reservoir. The rotary valve has an inner and outer half. Each half of the valve has fluid ports to direct the hydraulic fluid to each side of the steering gear. The input shaft of the steering gear is connected to the inner part of the rotary valve. The inner valve part is also connected to the top of a torsion bar. The bottom of the torsion bar is connected to the outer part of the rotary valve and to the output shaft in the steering gear that is connected to the pinion gear. With no steering input, equal amounts of fluid are directed to each side of the rack. When the steering wheel is turned, the torsion bar deflects or twists. This turns the inner and outer rotary valve parts different amounts, aligning fluid ports in the two parts of the valve. Which fluid ports are aligned determines which side of the rack receives the pressurized hydraulic fluid. The fluid pressure difference between the two sides of the rack pushes the rack in the direction it is being turned, reducing the effort required to turn the steering wheel. The amount of assist that is provided depends on how well the ports in the inner and outer parts of the rotary valve align with each other. The better the ports align, the more fluid that can pass through, and the higher the level of assist will be. The alignment of the ports depends on how much the torsion bar twists. The more the bar twists, the greater the difference in the amount of movement between the inner and outer valve parts, and the better the ports will align. The amount the torsion bar twists is dependent on the size or stiffness of the bar, and the amount of torque input from the steering shaft.